Okay, so let's have a look because we are charged up. So we came here with 14% and 24 minutes later we have 87. So really great charging by the Kia EV6. Let's have a look. So look at this, when you're charging your Kia, the charging connector is here. Okay, that's how you open it, and it opens itself like on a Tesla. That's pretty cool. So let me just unlock this fast charging cover. Right, now let's take this fantastic charger. This should be, I think, up to 350 kilowatts charging possible at this charger. But of course we're just gonna use the Kia can. Alright, it's connected as you can see. Now let's do it. So which one is it? I need to put the card in there, yes. And I think it's the right one. Now it starts charging. And so we have 14%, and let's see what the most power we can get out of this. And how long it takes, of course. Oh, I'm just gonna switch it like this, so as you can see. So now we did the maths. So 29 minutes to 80% it says. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. Now let's have a look at the rise of the power. 67, 70. I also preconditioned the battery, even though it was a short drive to here. So let's see what it did. Okay, so it doesn't seem to go further up. 68, yeah. Alright, so at the moment with reasonably, cold battery, even though I turned on the preconditioning, it's 67 kilowatts of charging. I'm gonna have a look at the charging speed, of course, and make a video of it. So the great thing is that you can also check it from the inside of the car while you're sitting in it. And look at this, you have all the information you need as an EV owner. So you have how long it takes to 100%, 53 minutes. You have the power, you have also the 28 minutes to 80%, which you need on a long travel. So, and great, and it also shows you the range as it's going up. So yeah, really cool in this regard. This is as it should be with an EV. Good. Alright, exciting news. Let's have a look. The Kia has just unlocked at some 40%. The faster charging. Let me show you. Let's put the card in. So, look at this. Now we're doing 130 kilowatts almost. 127.6. Okay, and it was at around 34% that it unlocked this charging power. So really good. Now it's gonna take really a low amount of time. 130 kilowatts getting rammed into the battery. 18 minutes to 80% with the charging with this electric family cruiser. This is really good. It's really flying up now. So I'm really happy about this. Wow, look at this. Now we're taking 148 kilowatts of charging. This is unbelievable. This is the fastest charging I've ever experienced. 148 kilowatts. Absolutely amazing. Wow. So lovely. Now it's gonna fly up. Look at this. 14 minutes till end. Oh, this is fantastic. 149. Let's see if it can go up even more. Okay, so we're at 80%. Let's have a look. So after the energy consumption that I had so far, it calculated. Oh, why now? Why now, car? It calculated. Yeah, it calculated 320 kilometers on 81%. So let's go and let's disconnect it from the charging. And we can set off. Okay, so need a card. Cool. So just to see it here on the display, so we've been charging here for 32 minutes, so just over half an hour. We charge 58 kilowatts, we have 81%, and the charging speed still at 81% is 79 kilowatts. Okay, so we can stop the charging and we can go. Hello and welcome to the new video, and this time it's a Kia EV6 long range GT line. So let's have a walk around the car. I think the car is absolutely looking spectacular. I like the face of the car. It's really nice. I like those sort of small wings on each side that I'm going to show you later. But let's go from the front. So very nice face actually. These inlets here, they open during the driving when you turn on the conditioning, and they are cooling the battery when needed. So that's cool. Then the aerodynamic coefficient of the whole car is 0.28, which is pretty good for the size of the car. We have really big wheels, 20-inch wheels. You can get the smaller ones at 19 inches, but with these bigger ones, you have really huge tires, 255, 45, R20. So really big. And then in terms of geometry, we have and suspension, we have McPherson here in the front, and the positive caster. We also have aerodynamic wheels that help you with achieving a less drag coefficient. If I look from here, we have a slight negative camber as well. And then there is a very important part for comfort and stability is the wheelbase, which is 2.9 meters. It's really long, and it really helps the car to be incredibly comfortable on the journeys. Now, if I look at the rear, we also have a very slightly smaller positive caster, but still. But what's more important, bigger negative camber here on the rear wheels than in the front wheels, and this helps the car with cornering, and a very slight toe out. Okay, then we go to the rear. So we have this roof spoiler, which again is helping the aerodynamics, and it's partly making sort of a wing here from the side looks. And also look at these door handles. They are inside, so again flat surface from the side, so that's nice. Okay, so and then we go to the rear of the side, where here you open the charging port. Well, let me try and do it somehow. I don't know where it goes. Okay, so now it opens. It is controlled electronically, but you can also do it by your hand. And so here is the DC charging, AC charging. It also has the V2L, so you can power your house through it with a correct connector. And then if you want to close it, you just press this, and it closes itself. Now the lights are very quirky in sort of design. It connects to this silver element, and it also carries on here to the arch. So pretty cool in that regard. And also it is connected through, and it is a part of this rear spoiler. So very interesting from the rear. Now if we have a look at the boot, which is opened here on the bumper, it is 490 liters in capacity, and it is decently long, right? And well, I think it's decent. You have stereo here in the rear. You have these handles for putting the seats down. You have a 12-volt socket. So yeah, and a little underfloor storage, but very small. And the boot is of course electronically controlled. And as you can see, you have the side blinkers here. Is this part of the light, which is very cool. Okay, now let's sit in the back. Oh, I have things again. Okay, and the light in the back is absolutely amazing. You have massive space here, really like in a limousine. You have very high quality Meridian audio system. You have air conditioning vents here in the B pillar, which is cool. Then if you want to charge the phone, you don't have it in the central panel, but here on the sides of each seat, of each of the front seats, which is pretty cool. You also have the armrest as usual, but what's also amazingly crazy is this. You can adjust the angle of the seat, and you can sit like normally, or you can really lie down and disappear and be very comfortable and even sleep in the car. So this is absolutely amazing feature of the EV6, and it makes a family life and driving the kids and all the people around in the back very, very extremely comfortable. Now, there is a battery in the floor. This battery is 77.4 kilowatt hours. The battery weighs 477 kilos itself, and it's a lithium-ion battery. Some sources say it's a LiPo, but on the Kia side I found it's a lithium-ion battery. Now let's have a look under the bonnet, where of course we won't find an engine. By the way, this is the all-wheel drive model, so you have engine both in the front and in the rear. You have 326 horsepower and 605 Newton meters. And let me open the bonnet. Where is it? Okay. So you would think this is an engine cover, right? But it is not. Let me show you. It is a very small trunk, a very small luggage compartment here in the front, so you can keep some small things inside, some paperwork maybe. Yeah, some very small things. So I think it's a nice solution, because really, what else would you be looking for here in the front? And then there are some coolants here, fuses, and the 12-volt battery as always. So yeah, that's about it. But it's also an interesting EV for driving. Just one thing, it weighs at 2012 kilos, which is like any ordinary diesel SUV. So yeah, let's take it further down the road and let's see how it drives. So welcome inside the Kia EV6 long range. So yeah, let's start talking about the interior. I have to say, as always with the EVs, this interior is very sort of charismatic and a little bit different, mostly because of the central panel, where you have free space. You don't have a separation in between the legs of the front passengers, and here you have 4 electric connectors. So you have one USB-A, 2 USB-C, and a 112-volt socket. Then you have a huge storage space here underneath this floating console, and then here on this floating console, on the top of it, you have the ventilation of the seats, heating of the seats, heating of the steering wheel. And then you have the starting button, which is slightly rotated to the driver. So let me just start the car. Then you have the rotating dial for choosing the drive, neutral, or reverse, or park by pressing. Then further down you have wireless charging for the phone, which is also ventilated, so it's cooling the phone. That is a good thing. You have two cup holders, some storage space for the key, and a very deep armrest here, extremely deep, and a lot of space in there. I can put my arm in there up to my elbow, so that's pretty good. Then above here where the display is, so you have a curved screen in front of you, and then also a display for the settings of the air conditioning, but you can set the temperatures with these rotating knobs. They have a nice feel. Or you can change this display from the air conditioning settings into the typical, like what is this, like audio infotainment settings here. So you can go quickly into the maps, into navigation, into the media. So it's a shortcut button, so that's pretty cool, and you can switch very quickly in between it. Now then, you have this sort of interesting steering wheel. The good thing about it is that I have drive mode button to selecting drive modes here ahead of me, so I can just straight put it into sports. I have quite a big regeneration pedals to work with the regeneration on the go, which is what I always need with the car. So that is good. Yeah, the first thing you always have to do when stepping inside the car is that you have to turn off the lane assist. So you go 1, 2 into vehicle settings, scroll down, lane assist, turn it off. So like five steps turning it off, so that's okay. Then you can switch this display to this very simple screen, which is not annoying you and disrupting you, and it actually says the range and the percentage of the battery, as well as time and weather, so that's good. Now you can also change this display ahead of you, and you can change all sorts of information over there, so that's cool. You can choose tire pressures, yeah, very sort of usual stuff. And then here on the left you can open the boot, the tailgate of the boot. You can open the charging connector through here, and there is an electronic handbrake here on the left side. You also have, as you can see, a very beautiful ambient lighting here. Yeah, very cool. You also have lighted these door pockets in the doors and also in the back, which is pretty cool. But anyway, let's start driving. So let's first get out of this parking space, and you can see the reverse camera. It is also a 360-degree camera, so you can also look at the car from different views like this. So I find it pretty cool. And you also have you have the look on the car from above. But anyway, let's get out. So the car has a turning radius of 11.4 meter, and from my experience, it is slightly more difficult to park with, because the car is very long. And yeah, now when you're driving normally like this, you can turn off the regeneration, or you can put it in the auto mode, which is not, it doesn't work the best way. I think the most efficient way, it just keeps the regen always on, it seems. And you also have, what you also have is the i-stop function. So when you're coming to the light, you put it to the maximum regeneration setting, and then the car stops to the 0 kilometers per hour or 0 miles per hour. And that is a feature which is not in all electric cars, and it is actually quite a comfortable feature, because you don't have to step on the brake too much. So that's cool. Let's just go check through this roundabout very quickly. Yeah, nice. So, and then another car. This car is extremely comfortable, and that is thanks to the conceptual thing. Now let's see this. I pedal, but I was driving a little bit too fast. Okay, so the car is very comfortable because it has a 2.9 meter long wheelbase, which is what you get in a 5 Series, in the new 5 Series, for example. So it can compete in this with the 5 Series, and it is really extremely comfortable, because the time that goes by in between the front wheels and the rear wheels hitting the pothole or the speed bump or the angulation is longer than in some smaller type of car, and therefore giving you more comfort, really. Also, what helps the comfort is the damping, which is on the comfy side, really comfy, really soft, sort of soft, and even if you do some maneuver, you can feel the car rolls a bit. But despite that, the car is quite nicely controlled. The behavior on the angulations there is a very sort of minor bounce at the rear, but it goes flat through them, and then there is this minor bump on the rear. To me, it feels like a little bit like when a lion or a leopard jumps and lands. So that's what the car naturally feels like when it's landing. So yeah, I think very good in this regard. And also we have 20-inch wheels in this top specification model called GT line, and these wheels, what they give you is a very good feedback from the road, actually, and that also is through the steering, which has a positive caster. So the suspension has a positive caster, which gives you a better feedback from the road surface. So yeah, that's great in this regard. Now to the technology and to the powertrain. So we have a bigger 77 kilowatt-hour battery, 77.2, and I think the net capacity is 74.3, if I'm right, which I might not be, but I think it's around that, 74. Now what we have is an all-wheel drive, so we have electric motors both at the front and at the rear, and they are giving us together, now in the sports mode, 326 horsepower and a mighty 605 Newton meters, which is really a lot, and the car for sure feels like that. It can accelerate from 0 to 62 in 5.2 seconds. in 5.2 seconds to 62 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour. So really great. I'm now doing 70, and look at this. I'm gonna smash the accelerator pedal very hard. Yeah, 70, 80, 90, 100. Absolutely incredible acceleration from the car. Really. Wow, really great in this regard. And what I'm also very happy with, sort of, is the range. Of course, it's not exactly true as the WTP says. I think in the city alone, if you would be using it, it could be. By the way, sorry for the sound from the back, but there is a water bottle, and it's going along there. So yeah, in the city, I think it is definitely possible, or very close to that. But of course, then when you travel around the country, the average consumption is, of course, as you might expect, lower, and the range is also lower. So I did some 255 kilometers in between charges, and I still had like 12% left in the battery, which I find reasonable. And I was actually, for an electric car, very happy with it, because I didn't have to stop for charging every bit of the road. I could do 200 kilometer motorway dash, driving like with a petrol car at 140 kilometers per hour without any problem, and even going down the hill, even though the road was mostly up the hill. Sorry, it was mostly up the hill, and then down the hill I could have gone like 150 even. So really, I think quite comfy for an electric car. I call it, or I would call it, an electric cruiser. It's really rather good. I liked it. Okay, so yeah, and then there is the charging. So I was then trying to charge it, and then when you try to charge it, the car maxes at, or it maxed in my case, at 235 kilowatts of charging power. This is the most I ever experienced, and it is absolutely exciting. I think 235 kilowatts of electric power getting rammed into the battery. Incredible. Of course, the map of the charging itself, as always with electric cars, isn't like that. So at first you get like 149 kilowatts of charge. Then for a small bit in between, I think it was 40 to 50, you get these 200 kilowatts, and then after 52% it again goes down to like 160 kilowatts. So the total charging time in between like 14% and 85% was 22-23 minutes, which I think is a very decent time, but it still is around half an hour, which everybody claims. But I find the EV6 GT like a very good electric car to live with, even on a long journey. It's really good. And then when you try to go fast, thanks to the geometry of the wheels, both with negative camber, but more negative camber at the rear wheels, and I think it was slightly toe out. I think it is slightly toe out. It is actually a very similar setup to the Mazda CX-60 that I tested a few weeks ago. Of course, that's an SUV and diesel, but they have some similarities, both in this setup of the wheels, of the camber of the wheels, and also the weight. This car weighs at 2012 kilos, and also that car, the Mazda, being a big SUV with a big diesel, it was also slightly over 2 tons. So they are very comparable, and also in the way they drive through corners, very nicely balanced, very predictive. You can drive them precisely, and this car being mostly like sending power to the rear wheels, you can even enjoy a little bit. So you get these 2 tons into drift, and that's where you feel the weight. Otherwise, when driving normally or slightly faster through the corners, you don't notice it that much. But when you get into the slide, you really do feel the weight of the car. Let me just put the light on me. So yeah, and then now I'm in the tunnel, so that got me thinking. I also did the noise test, which was in between 57 and 59 decibels. So the car at 130 kilometers is, or can be considered, really quiet. Okay, so yeah, now of course we are in the tunnel, so it may not seem like that, but really the car is very pleasantly quiet. You can almost whisper, which I'm not doing now, but you can whisper to your passengers when you're talking. So yeah, and now back to the power. It just feels amazing. You can do any overtaking without any fear. It just rock it up immediately, and that's actually what you need. You need an immediate torque when you're overtaking, because you need to do it quickly, and that is a really big advantage of an electric car. So anytime you just spotted an opportunity for pass, you just put your foot down and it goes. And by the way, did you hear this sound? Let's slow down a little bit. Ah, good sound. So in the sports mode, this EV actually has a sound dedicated to it, and I think it's quite a nice sound. Of course, it's not gonna be like petrol cars that exciting, but it's for an EV. I think it's quite nice. Okay, so I think that would be to the driving and experience. We can now talk about likes and dislikes about the car. So in between the dislikes, well, we could critique that it's an EV and it has the disadvantages of an EV. So that being the weight, bigger price, which this car costs 59,000 euros, over 59,000 euros, but it's the same as Mazda really did in the top spec. So weight, price and range. Of course, the technology is behind the ambition of EV cars yet, because of course they weren't developed for a long time. But I think still, for the people who are interested in electric cars and who have the amount of time necessary for owning one, the comfort of the time and some money that they can spend on it, I think it's an interesting thing, particularly for me, being a sort of a little bit of a scientific guy. For me, it is very interesting to find out what the range is and what are the differences in between the range claimed and the real range, and how it behaves in different conditions. So for somebody scientific, it is a very interesting car to own, and you can call it a GT because it really is very comfortable and it can travel for an EV reasonably long distance. And also this car was quite a bit ahead of its time, because it has already 800 volts architecture of the battery, so it can get this really fast charging, and it was one of the first cars that could do that. So that's cool. And then the other likes would be the comfort, thanks to the massive wheelbase of 2.9 meters, which is also connected with the absolutely incredible legroom in the back and the comfort for being driven in the back. You can also recline the seats and make yourself very comfortable, almost like lying in the back and sleeping. So that's really comfy. You have a decently sized boot, 500 liters, which is, I think, very decent. So it's also very practical. That's another like. It's very practical. So that would be the like. And did I mention the driving? I think it's quite nicely done. You know, all the setup of the suspension, the setup of the camber of the wheels, of the toe of the wheels. It's just nice to drive generally throughout the corners. Very balanced. You can drive it precisely enough. So yeah, I think it's nice, and it's also a very good looking car. I really do like the design. I like it that it's also quite aerodynamic, 0.28 drag coefficient, but I like the design itself. It's very quirky, mostly in the back, and in the front it has a very nice face. So yeah. And then the price, well, 59,000. I think for this type of EV today, it's quite a normal price. Of course, we can argue if it's too much. It might be, but it's an EV, it's a new technology today. It's not for everybody. So yeah. And then this car has a few competitors. Mostly its brother, the Ioniq 5, who just got even a sports version for slightly more than the most powerful version of this car, and the Ford Mustang Mach-E. So these are the sort of cars that can compete with the Kia EV6 GT. But I really have to say, EV6 GT, really good electric car that you can use. Yeah, I think you can use it every day with being quite happy with it. So yeah, I think that would be it to the Kia EV6 long range battery. And well, keep watching, keep subscribing, more videos are coming on very soon, and I'll see you in the very next one. In the meantime, take care and goodbye.